We're witnessing the confirmation hearings in the U.S. Senate of Donald Trump's nominations.
Can you say no to the President of the United States when he asks you to do something unethical or illegal?
Pam Bondi as Attorney General and Pete Hegseth as Defense Secretary. They thought they were going to be very schooled and prepped, and Schumer had them all in and said this is an occasion for us to make the argument that Trump is satanic and these people are incompetent, but they really didn't research it.
Senator, first, I need to clarify something that you said, that I have to sit up here and say these things. No, I don't. I sit up here and speak the truth.
At her confirmation Senate hearing, Pam Bondi faces rigorous questioning from Senator Blumenthal about her qualifications for the role of Attorney General and her capacity to withstand unethical requests from the president.
Pam Bondi came in, they thought that she had been Trump's lawyer, she was a lightweight, she was a MAGA person, and they started asking her questions. And then something very eerie happened. They started projecting what Merrick Garland and Biden had done onto her, who had done nothing yet. So are you going to weaponize the DOJ? Or are you going to think of the crime first and then find the victim? And cool as a cucumber, she said, well, that's what you do. So I'm not going to target Donald Trump and then make up crimes to embarrass him or nullify his candidacy, crimes which we would never have indicted anybody for had they either been not Donald Trump or if Donald Trump chose not to run again.
I'm not going to sit up here and say anything that I need to say to get confirmed by this body. I don't have to say anything. I will answer the questions to the best of my ability. And honestly,
let me ask you.
That is political suicide. If I have reservations about Hegseth or I cannot say anything because these people are crazy and I've got to stick with my team. So I think they're all going to get confirmed, and that's going to embolden all of them to go back on the attack like Bondi did and Pete did. So I expect that they'll go after Kash. When they get to Kash Patel, and I know Kash pretty well, it's going to be a lot of fireworks.
We will go out and find the conspirators, not just in government, but in the media. Yes, we're going to come after the people in the media who lied about American citizens, who helped Joe Biden rig presidential elections. We're going to come after you. Whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out.
In response, Bondi firmly affirms her dedication to truth and independence, pledging not to politicize the Attorney General's office or unfairly target individuals based on their political affiliations.
It would not be appropriate for a prosecutor to start with a name and look for a crime. It's a prosecutor's job to start with a crime and look for a name, correct?
And Pam is absolutely right.
Senator, I think that is the whole problem with the weaponization that we have seen the last 4 years and what's been happening to Donald Trump. They targeted Donald Trump. They went after him, actually starting back in 2016. They targeted his campaign. They have launched countless investigations against him. That will not be the case if I am Attorney General. I will not politicize that office. I will not target people simply because of their political affiliation.
Those old Democratic stalwart guys that were young during the Truman era and they came into their own in the 60s and 70s, they were kind of misguided, but they were well-spoken, they were logical, they were professionals. These people are just, I don't know what's happened to the Democratic Party. I don't know if this older generation was suspect to begin with, or when the party was hijacked by the woke people, they had to make the necessary adjustments. But they are an embarrassing lot. They really are. And I mean, to say what he did, give me the man and I'll find you the crime, that's what he was alluding to after what Merrick Garland did without no one. The thing about Merrick Garland, his delegate, this was all coordinated. We know that about Fani Willis and Bragg and Letitia James and Smith, but in every one of those cases, there was one truism that Donald Trump, if he had said he was not going to run for re-election, none of them would have indicted him, and they will never indict anybody else for those crimes. They're non-existent crimes. They will vanish and evaporate into the atmosphere.
Victor Davis Hanson praised Pam Bondi's strategic responses during her Senate confirmation, making Democratic senators look unprepared. He also appreciates Pete Hegseth's handling of his hearings. Hanson tells Megyn Kelly that when it's Kash Patel's time for the hearing, he will absolutely obliterate them with those kinds of questions and provocations.
And our biggest enemy against that truth is the deep state. And we are on a mission to annihilate the deep state.
Senator, to cut to the chase, you're clearly talking about Kash Patel. I don't believe he has an enemies list. He made a quote on TV, which I have not heard.
Kash Patel wrote a book called Government Gangsters.
I am going to go on a government gangsters manhunt in Washington, D.C. for our great president. Who's coming with me?
In that book, it lists individuals that Patel considers the quote-unquote deep state. People on the deep state list include President Biden, former Attorney General for Donald Trump, Bill Barr, Attorney General Garland, Robert Mueller, what Patel calls the quote entire fake news.
I know that Kash Patel has had 60 jury trials as a public defender, as a prosecutor. He has great experience in the Intel Department, Department of Defense. I have known Kash, and I believe that Kash is the right person at this time for this job.
I'd shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one and reopening the next day as a museum of the deep state. And I'd take the 7,000 employees that work in that building and send them across America to chase down criminals. Go be cops. You're cops. Go be cops.
And I'm questioning you right now about whether you will enforce an enemies list that he announced publicly on television.
Oh, Senator, I'm sorry. There will never be an enemies list within the Department of Justice.
The thing about Kash is he can say things and he writes things that can be taken out of context, but what they don't, I've known him for about 15 years. He's got a photographic memory. He really does. He's a brilliant guy. And what he's going to do, and I think everybody knows it, he's going to bring back all these guys and women that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s that were driven out by the Mueller, Comey, McCabe, Wray regimes when they got sick of the weaponization. So he's going to be surrounded by professional FBI people that were dissidents and wanted to restore the reputation of the FBI. It's going to be restoration.
In this case, someone like Patel, who, as Sarah reported, an extreme Trump political loyalist, would he try to get FBI employees to investigate Trump's opponents? Would he try to stop any investigations that began within Trump's orbit? That is a major question.
When Joe Biden, their president, our president, but especially their hero, is now pardoning 1,500 people. He pardoned his son, and they know what's going to happen, maybe while these confirmations go on, because Biden is running out of time, and we know he's going to try to pardon. I think he'll pardon Liz Cheney, Benny Thompson. I think he'll pardon probably some more Biden family members. And then we have the whole incompetency going on in Los Angeles and the whole destruction of LA and the culpable blue state model. So the backdrops of this hearing is not good for progressivism, is what I'm trying to say. Anybody who knew Pete Hegseth or Pam Bondi or met them or knows them or seen them in action, they're very quick on their feet. They're witty, they're smart, and they're perfect. I mean, they're masters of optics. They've been on television. So just the appearance of her and Pete, the way they handled the questions, the way they answered, didn't they understand what they were doing when they asked these stupid questions and they showboated and performanced art? When Pete, I'm not a general, Senator. Didn't they understand that these people were far more capable in that venue than they were? Anybody who followed Pam Bondi and Pete Hegseth know they were experts in television. They look good on TV. They go on Fox News nightly, daily. Their whole forte is extemporaneous repartee. Ask me any question. I'm on air in front of 4 million people. I can do it. That's what they do. So they came in here as the experts, and the rookies were the people interrogating them. And the more and more inept they seemed, the angrier and angrier, and they doubled down. And it was a disaster for them, and it made Pete Hegseth as an automatic confirmation. But it's just that they're in an echo chamber and they're so arrogant, but they're ossified, calcified hacks, and they don't understand it. And they're up against a new generation of really smart people who have mastered the medium of television and impromptu repartee, and they just had them for dinner.
Thanks for watching. Victor Davis Hanson believes Bondi and Hegseth have a strong chance of being confirmed. Do you agree with his assessment? Let us know your thoughts in the comments.